Hello, everyone. Looks like we're live.
Oh, does it? Oh, great, because I can't see us. Are we live?
This is us on a new system, and we're still working it out over here. So if you're joining us for the live, our deepest apologies, but hopefully you're getting a good laugh out of us.
Oh, no kidding. I spent time with the owner of the company because he's like, "I have never heard of this being a thing." And I'm like, "And yet it is." So yes, hopefully I can't see it, but hopefully we are live and other people can see us.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
goodness. It says
see
we're
I
not
see
streaming, but
I see on my side that it says streaming, and we've been streaming for now 41 seconds, 42
okay.
seconds.
There
So,
we go. All right.
yeah.
Welcome
And
everyone. Connection with Spirit. I'm Larissa Russell.
and I'm Deborah Epstein. So happy to be here.
Yes, we are.
So
Um,
we're talking about the zigzaggy path to creation and healing. And so like we're I think we're exemplifying the zigzaggy path here as we're learning a new system and getting it up and streaming. And I think
mhm.
too some of this is like letting go of perfection, allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And it's okay to get it wrong. It's okay to get it wrong. I think, when we're creating stuff and we have things in life. And when I say creating, I don't mean art, even though I'm an artist. I believe we create our lives, and we're really have a lot more autonomy and authority within our lives than we imagine, because we all grew up in a world where we had to get along. And we were just kind of talking about man's laws and universal laws. And that's I feel like that's what's up. That's what we're healing right now, is like, where are you stopping yourself? Are you stopping yourself because you really can't do it, or you don't think you can, or if it's not possible? Or is it an outer law that was imposed on you, and you buy it, instead of like poking at it and questioning it, and you testing to see if it's possible.
Oh, yes, all the testing. And uh, Deb had just pulled a card right before we came on and this is what came up. And it for some reason all I heard was like going with the system and like stop fighting it but I immediately thought the patriarchy and I'm like, you can't make me. Um, And so I was like, "No." But, yes, we were talking about universal laws, but my brain was just so locked in on fighting that
Yeah, well, I think that's another thing that's shifting for us too, because we are a society that does battle. We do battle within ourselves, right? We have, you know,
Mm,
the voices fighting in our head, and that our brains are wired for binary, this or that. And a lot of times too, like when your body is, and heart is sees the bigger picture, but we're mostly up in our head. And our programming is such that, like, when our nervous system gets triggered, we engage the brain to think our way out of a problem.
mhm,
And it just starts a battle. And like, where we have to come is, we have to go, okay, like, the system's responding off of something past, from the past. That's just how it works. And we got to come into real time. If there is no tiger
mhm.
chasing you, if no one is, then and your system is activated and your brain starts to engage, you got to remember to come down to the heart and breathe and calm your system down, and then go, okay, let's have
Yeah.
another look at this. And it just is, it feels a lot more intense right now. I know for me, and that's a lot of what we've been talking about over the last month or so, the intensity, the roller coaster ride. And I'm really thinking, like, my goal for this is just to be on the ride and enjoy the experience of the ride, without going like, oh my God, we're going up, or oh my God, we're going
Yes, all of that.
down.
Oh my goodness, it's so true. It's so
Yeah.
true as we yeah, the ups and downs and is it good or is it bad? We put these, like, we need to quantify it, and it's like, but it could be good and bad. It could be neither. It just is, but
Yeah.
then we quantify it with this good or bad, or negative, positive, whatever words we're using to feel into it as opposed to just allowing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so just allowing to,
Oh,
feel first. And did I freeze? I feel like
just
I
for a moment,
froze.
I was like about to go, "Oh, no, we lost her. Now what am I gonna do?"
Yeah, keep talking.
It's a one-woman show.
Oh, yes. It's been a tech day for sure. So,
Yeah.
um, I didn't check to see. I know there's something going on, but I can't remember what. I haven't been very good at keeping up on things lately as I've been dealing with some just lifing things.
Yeah. But
So
that might be okay too, and there is a lot going on, and my dog is now barking at the door to go out because there's a delivery truck out there, so
yes.
and he wants to get his cookie.
Mhm.
So, I apologize for my barking dog. Um, speaking about it's just life happening in the background, right?
Yeah, life is just happening. It's happening everywhere, and it's just some days it feels like a lot, and some days it feels like, "Oh, whatever." And, lately it's been more of the a lot.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I don't know that anything is really different in the intensity personally. It's just the world energy that we're in, right?
yeah,
This energy that we're in, it intensifies things so much
yeah.
that it all feels extra.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so interesting because I when we first hopped on, I was like, "Oh my gosh," you're asking me, like, how my week was, and I was like where I was at in that moment was a little overwhelmed, and I'm like, "Yeah, when we got together last week, I was on, like, yeah, this is awesome," and I'm like, "Honestly, I can't even tell you where I was at," But it just took a moment for me to think about it, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, like, the magic of creation," and when you're kind of, on your path, and how these like really cool synchronous things happen. I was experiencing that last week. It's like these kind of unrelated connections connected
Mhm.
and, an opportunity arose for me at a really good time. And so I was like, "Oh yeah, like I remember how this works." But, it's not that, it's just there's so much happening all at once. And I think it's our systems also upgrading to be able to handle the multidimensional aspects of our experiences because that's really what it is, right? It's multidimensional. And if we're used to saying like we're in this groove and this is how it goes and it's the known experience and you pretty much know that like, "Oh, I wake up, I this happens, that happens, that happens." Well, it's not like that anymore. And I don't know, is it I can't speak to anyone else's experience, I know I'm working the field a lot, So, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are too, as we're waking up and we're doing our spiritual work and the work that we do unfolding and unfurling the truth of who we are and the things we have to go through. It's just not a linear experience yet. There's this goldfish part of the brain, I think, too. Oh, like it's a new experience, but then you kinda go like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is a little familiar," even though this feels like a brand new thing.
Yes. Yes, all of that as we're going through this life energy of all of this,
Mhm.
change, but it's the transition of it all,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And everything is in upheaval because of transition, and it's not good or bad. I mean, we can apply whatever labels we want, in the moment, but it is in transition, and as we move through it, do we allow ourselves to stop and just be in that, or are we always fighting it?
Mhm.
And I catch myself a lot fighting it, with whether it's, yelling at the TV because of politics or or because of, bursting into tears because, I can't walk today or, like whatever it is that gets in the way of what we expect to
Mhm.
happen.
Mhm.
And so our expectations are really where the problem lies, not in, what it is.
Yeah, and that's a really good point too. And, the new age movement and the law, and when they started talking about like the secret and the law of manifesting and all that, everyone's trying to manifest something, right?
Mhm.
The thing is we are always manifesting. It's like we're always creating is what we do, but we have somehow like come with the idea that manifest equals, automatically good things.
Mhm.
And if you're not manifesting good things, then you must be doing something wrong. And that just kind of perpetuates that feeling of wrongness that we all kind of inherently have being
Mhm.
in this earth plane. And the thing I've been saying to people that I've been working with lately is like, you're just doing it perfectly human. Human experience is the roller coaster. It's not about trying to make it not happen. And it doesn't mean anything if you're right, or it doesn't mean you're right about it. It doesn't mean you're wrong about it. It's a thing that is. It's like, we're not in the space we used to be in when we were souls and we could do all these things and we didn't have these limitations, right?
Mhm.
We're here to experience what it's like to be separate, but we took it so far to the nth degree, right? So that like we create separation with just how we behave with one another. We
Mhm.
create separation within ourselves when we hate on ourselves, and we're dividing deeper and deeper and deeper within. And that creates that cavernous like wound within us that
Mhm.
it really hurts the heart, and what's coming together now is the being able to hold both of those experiences. It's the judgment of those experiences. And I say the new age movement because there's an element in that movement of like perfection beyond like kind of transcending the human experience. And we didn't come here to transcend it. We came here to ascend, which means to go in, to raise our vibration. We'll create it differently. It's not all of a sudden going to be this magical wonderland like, Dorothy,
Mhm.
she finally lands in Oz, right? That it's now full blown color. I mean, maybe it can be like that, but we're being asked to do some work here. We're light workers for the most part. We came here during this time of great upheaval for
Yeah, for a
for
reason.
for it all. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
and boy, aren't we feeling it today,
Yeah, and I really do think that's an important part, and I know we've touched on it before, but the idea that, we come here to make everything perfect. So, like, if we,
Mhm,
think about things in a certain way, if we, use our energy in a certain way, that everything will align and we'll end up with this perfect life. There is no perfect. There is no one way that, you have to do all of these things perfectly so that you can end up in this place.
mhm.
No, we come here to experience and grow, and you don't grow if everything is perfect.
Yeah,
You don't. You need to experience and you need to find resistance to be able to move forward, right? Like, that's what gives us growth.
yeah,
If we if all the doors just open for you, then what,
yeah.
right? Eh, I
It'd be
remember there was a
nice.
phase
Gosh,
back
wouldn't
in
you just
the
love that?
it sounds good in theory. There was a phase back in the 90s because my kids were younger then, and they didn't call them helicopter moms back then, I forget what they called
Oh,
them then.
yeah,
Maybe it was the beginning of that phrase, but
yeah.
anyways, so much so that kids didn't even learn to fall.
Oh,
They
yeah.
didn't know to put their hands out because their parents were always there to grab them.
Oh, yeah,
And so, there was no resistance, and so then when they did fall, because 'cause they're not with your parents 24/7,
yeah,
they fell on their face, like, literally.
yeah.
And that sort of thing where we learn resilience,
Mm,
yes.
mhm.
I do struggle with that one off and on with, yes, we need it, but also how much do we need it?
Yeah,
Like, but we do need to have some sort of resistance to be able to grow and move forward and to to do the work that we came here to do.
yeah. Well, even physically, if you just look at the body, we need to have some sort of resistance for our muscles to work against stuff, right? And
Yeah, look at the non-gravity,
yeah,
things that happen when you do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you have, like, a hyper flexibility or hyper mobility, that's a lot of what's missing is you don't have the resistance of, like, your own personal ways of applying your guardrails, so to speak, right? So, like,
Mhm.
because I can turn all the way this way, I will turn all the
All
way
the way
this
this
way,
way.
and, you don't go like, "Oh, well, what would it be like just to kinda find a range that's yours," so that your body builds in its sense of restriction, you know? Um, it's interesting how that plays out in the body, and one of the things too, to what you're speaking about with resistance is that I feel like that's kind of where I'm at with, like, I'm on this, like, seed thing. I'm kinda doing a lot of paintings around seed and that kinda stuff, and it's when a seed is planted in the soil, I think I might have said this to you last week. You plant a seed in the soil. The seed doesn't freak out or complain or whatever because the dirt may be a little hard. It just is a process, right? It has to push through the dirt. So, however hard the dirt is, if that seed is pushing through some really hard soil, well, that's going to be a really a hardy plant,
Mhm.
right? And so we're like that too. The difference is we have feelings about it. And like you said, expectations. Well, it shouldn't be like this because I'm doing meditations and I'm taking my alone time and I'm doing this and that. These things shouldn't affect me. But
Mhm.
that's the thing. No one said that if you meditate every day that you're not going to have a bad day. It just gives you the ability to let go of the resistance, right? Because
Mhm.
you get the idea of like, "Oh, yeah, this is hard and it sucks." And, at the same time, I'm growing and it will pass, it always does, And I think for me, when I'm in those places like I was when I hopped on our call, that it's gonna shift,
Mhm.
and that's I treasure our friendship because when I am in places like that and we are together, it doesn't take long. And it's not like I don't really either hear either one of us like me, complain, complain, complain. What I feel and what we do with each other is help each other grow, you know?
Mhm.
It's not even just holding space, it's just reflecting back, knowing I know you're strong enough and you don't need me to tell you anything, and I
Mhm.
know you enough to know you're not just ranting just to rant, You're working through something, so it's just
Always processing.
it's
Yes.
always processing, yeah, and I feel like that's another part of this is that we're all in this together,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
find your people you can be yourself with, or trust people enough to be yourself with, that's a big one.
That is such an important one. I was just having that conversation with my daughter this morning. I talk to my daughter on Mondays, I talk to you on Mondays, so I think it's so funny because I often say to you, "I was just having that conversation with my daughter." Um, but with my, health challenges right now and some days not being able to walk and or, you know, muscles not working, it's been a bit of a thing. And so looking at the resistance that oh, now I forgot, I lost my train of thought because I started talking about my daughter and how I always do that.
Mhm.
You said my brain is also doing this.
Was it the hyperflexibility when I said about
Oh,
getting
that was earlier,
yeah,
yes, but just now you were talking about love
um,
that I do this
how we
live.
support how we support each other and then the
Oh,
ability
you and I, yes, yes.
yeah. To
So
look
that
into
we
myself.
oh, goodness. We as we come together and, can share the information about what we're going through, but then
Mhm,
also process it together,
mhm,
right? Not like you said, not in that whiny way, but in the, um, "This is what I'm going through. This is my thoughts about it. I know that that's not always my thoughts. My thoughts are sometimes this, my thoughts are sometimes" as I try to navigate my way through it, that, that space that we give to each other to grow, and there's other people in my life who I cannot, you know, because 'cause they'll either fully embrace the negative,
Mhm.
or try and talk you out of it,
Yeah.
right? And so they wanna go the other way, they're uncomfortable with that, so it's like, "Oh, here, but here's all the positive things and blah, blah, blah," and it's like,
Mhm.
"Well, yeah, I get that, but there's a process that has to happen in all of this as
Yeah.
I examine this and the whys, or maybe there is no why, it's just part of the path that I'm on right now."
Yeah.
And so being able to talk to people who get you, that you
Mhm.
can be authentic with in that messiness, because it's messy. It's
Mhm.
very messy to be in here and
Mhm.
trying to figure out, and sometimes I try to figure things out when I'm not, there's nothing to figure out. I just need to be. I just need to be. And so we all do. And so to have those people, like you were saying, that we can do that with, right?
Mhm.
That allow us to do the processing we need to do in space together.
Yeah. Yeah, I just saw that we had someone, Celtic Peasant 9753. Isn't that the truth? Yeah. So, hi, thanks
Yes.
for chiming in. And yeah, I think too, it's that, there's empathy around this too. There's the empathy where we are all feeling everything. The people that are showing up here, I'm pretty certain they're artists, they're healers, they're feelers, they either have some, we all have some sort of trauma around that because we don't live in a world, or we didn't grow up in a world that supported feeling. If anything, your feelings were dismissed, made wrong, you're too sensitive, all of the things, right? And then if you've
Mhm.
got the truth teller on top of that, that's, that also, for me, having that truth teller, learned really fast that you got to hold the truth in a lot of the times because people don't want to hear it. They don't want that truth. They don't want what you're seeing. And then yeah, it's also like the gaslighting too. They're doubling down. They're doubling down
Mhm.
on the lie. It's the ability to be that sensitive that you're reading energy that doesn't match what's coming out of someone's mouth, but you don't have the support around that. And it really does. It messes with your brain and that sense of self as
Mhm.
well. And I feel like that is, another thing that's kind of unwinding in people too, is as we're coming into more and more of who we are, the truth of that, our inner power, our inner authority, it's getting over the fear of the lockdown we've kind of been in
Mhm.
around the freedom to express. Because if it doesn't, because the freedom to express the things we're picking up may not agree with the norm. And, I look at a lot of different social platforms, ones that, I'm not going to name, but there's trends out there that really bug the shit out of me, that people are just hopping on bandwagons talking about stuff they don't know, and it's just shock value to get people to like or go viral. And I'm like, "You guys are missing the point so
Mhm.
bad." You're just missing the point.
Oh, the headline readers that don't go any deeper. And Zoe, yes, you're too sensitive. You're too sensitive, you're too emotional, you're too much.
Yeah,
You're too all the things.
do
That's
something. It's like, for who?
but
But then it's no wonder why we can't find anyone to meet us, so we
yeah.
start to isolate, and I think a lot of us too that are that way have kind of a hermit installed within us, but that's how, like, that's sacred, the mystic, the hermit, that's where we do this kind of sacred work. We need to be alone to do it, but
Mhm.
then the aloneness becomes more of a protection, and then we kind of we isolate. And I don't think we do it intentionally. I think it just kinda happens, and we have a story around that. Well, it's just my hermit, and I mean, that's me. I like being alone and da 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 da, but I also crave being with people too. But, it's kinda going back to what we were saying about the trusting yourself, trusting others, you know?
Mhm. That's one of the things that I have loved the most about the internet, is that we used to be so, like,
Mm,
community based, right? And then if you didn't fit that community that was, like, literally your neighborhood, maybe your city, then you were like, you had nowhere, right? With the
Mhm.
internet, it has allowed us to find our people.
Mhm.
Like, you're in another country from me.
Right.
Most of the people I have the deepest conversations with are in other countries,
Yeah.
or definitely not in my city. So it's, that ability to have those connections with people without having to live next door to them has been huge, I think, for those of us who
Mhm.
don't fit the narrative we've been taught and have been too much or not enough or all the things that we've been told we are that don't fit in.
Mhm.
And I love that about the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I just, looking at Zoe's, never thought of it that way, but yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really either till, you know, a couple of weeks ago when I go like, am I doing this out of choice or am I doing this because I'm a little barricaded, you know? And if I'm being honest, it is a little barricaded. You know, I have an event coming up, which is really interesting. So like some of the things that are kind of coming up for me is me looking at that stuff. So I love that I have this event. I get to create a despacho. I'm finally, yay, a sanctioned teacher. And so I'm going to be doing that. So it's a good way for me to get out in the community and do what I love doing.
Mhm,
Do I feel nervous about it? No, I don't, which to me is like, wow, that's cool. I'm like really excited to share this and I can see
mhm.
how it's going to go. But what's really interesting is what's coming up, bubbling up from the surface is asking me to look at, you know, my my choice to do a lot of things on my own, being in the hermit and all of that kind of stuff.
Thank you,
I
Zoe.
love
Yeah.
that. Zoe's
She's in my city.
awesome.
Half the year she's in my city.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's getting me to look at that kinda stuff, and it's an initiation of a sort, but,
Mhm,
it doesn't have to be a hard initiation is kind of what I'm learning, and I think that's part of letting go of the resistance to it when it comes up.
mhm,
And, we've both been saying too, it's yes, the roller coaster, but it's like we see each other every Monday, and
mhm,
sometimes it feels like 2 weeks with all the stuff that goes on between it's just moving so fast.
mhm.
And yeah, I don't know if
It's the amount of things that we have to share feels like 2 weeks, but yet it feels like I just talked to you, like,
yeah.
maybe the day before yesterday because, time is just moving so quickly, and it's true because there's so much because that's one of the okay, maybe the I don't wanna say downsides, but, like, the internet brings everything to you, right? We have all
Yeah,
the information. We have now whether or not you care to look for it is a whole other thing, but we have all the information at our fingertips. Well, let me preface that because I have tried to search for the other side sometimes, and it's very
mhm.
difficult the way the algorithms work.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I actually have another browser that I use now that only for searching the other side, if you will, because I wanna know how
Yeah.
people come up with the ideas they come up with. What are
Mm,
they like, where does these thoughts come from that are so different than mine?
yeah.
Like, how do they and what they're fed and what I'm fed are 2 different things, right? And you think about that when everything that with you think to be true or your beliefs are, then have it all validated by everybody and everything that's happening around you. Well, why would you? Like, I'm
Mhm.
not gonna switch my ideas about how people move in the world, right?
Yeah.
Let's be nice to each other. That's one of my beliefs. We should be kind to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you're not gonna sway me on that. But I also get a lot of, um, support to validate that in my world.
Mhm.
And, like many people who think that they need to be this way because those people need to change because they want them to be saved or they want them to have a
Mhm.
better life or they want, however they believe about it. they very strongly believe that also,
Mhm.
and it's validated, right? Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, Zoe, I have elder wisdom. Truthfully, I think we are always learning, therefore never really wise. But I'm a dang good listener. Thank you, Zoe.
Yeah.
Honest with you, you don't think and think. That is the main difference. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, and the thing is
yeah.
we all have wisdom, but it's not wisdom that's from here. It's like we have available to us a whole field of information
Mhm.
if we can tune into it. But we do have perception that kind of clouds that,
Yeah.
and it's our culture, it's our perception. I want to say the beliefs, but it's more like the programming from our culture, from our ancestry, from it's to the point where we think we're thinking, but we're really being driven by something, some other force, like, the force of a cultural belief or a cultural movement. And it's really the time right now is really calling for us to be strong, like strong of will, strong of heart, strong of will, not so much strong of like linear thinker, but
Mhm.
I mean, because this is really a processor, it's not meant to come up with the ideas, it's gonna come up with another version of a past idea, right? So to get into your heart and to connect in with spirit is, it's going from, here to here and then coming up, and then letting the brain do its job and record and stuff, form speech. It has other functions. I don't wanna minimize what the brain
Oh,
does.
yeah, it's important. Just like we need feminine energy and masculine energy,
Yeah.
we need both,
Yeah.
right? But it's like, where do you wanna move from? And we're very much taught to move from the brain in this world that we live in,
Mhm.
that you have to think everything through. We're not supposed to feel. We're not supposed to, you know, really tap into that energy. And so we've lost touch with it. We've lost touch with spirit. We've lost touch with our intuition and that felt experience.
Yeah.
And anytime you see somebody feel, you know, there's always a consequence in our society,
Yeah.
right?
Walk around them, they're feeling. You don't wanna catch it.
And it doesn't matter if it's perceived as a good emotion or a bad emotion.
Yeah.
It is it's too much, right? Like,
Yeah.
tone it down. Like, if you're too excited or you're too happy,
Yeah.
just like, if you're sad,
Mhm.
depression, like, nobody wants anything to do with that.
Yeah.
Grief, right? Well, we'll give you a little bit of space because I can kind of understand it, but at a certain point, it's gotta stop,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah. It's like, "Alright,
we
you've been
just
doing
have
that
all these.
enough. Alright, yeah, please stop."
Yeah, you can grieve over there, but, like, just don't get it on me. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just don't want any of that. All of that. And so we stuff it down and we don't allow ourselves to feel that. And same with, when difficult things happen, whether good or bad, when difficult things happen, and
Mhm.
it can be good and bad or both, one or the other,
Yeah.
it's we're not supposed to share it in a way that makes other people uncomfortable,
Mhm.
right? You know what I mean? Lately, I'm like, how much is too much to share? Like, I've been going through some things over here, and I write emails, and then I go delete, 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 and I'm like, okay, so I want people to know that you can still, move through the world even if there's difficult things happening.
Mhm.
But also, I don't want to dump on people. And if you're not in that same space to be able to like have the back and forth, like how
Mm.
much is too much to share? I haven't quite figured it out yet, so I delete a lot of it.
Yeah, there is that. There is like, yeah, how much does someone need to know of this story to understand what I'm about to share? There's also like, I don't wanna be talking to you like I'm on the mountaintop and you're down there.
Mhm.
It's like, no, we're coexisting in a field, all of us that are experiencing stuff, and here's how I'm seeing it. And it's there, that's the skill in being able to share without oversharing.
Yeah.
Because my fear about oversharing is not, I'm pretty transparent, but I don't like getting emails that are like, "Oh, I'm so sorry you're going through that." Even if they're sorry I'm going through that, I feel like I don't want that. If you sent me an email saying like, "Oh yeah, that's, I get that too, and I'm going through that too. Let me just send you some love and some prayers." I would love to receive that more than,
So
a
see, like, I totally like the, "I see you. I'm sorry you're going through that." I like those ones. In fact,
yeah.
Zoe just sent me one of those. Thank you, Zoe. Um, and, but also a reach out of, like, if I need her, she's there.
Yeah,
But, like, I do like those ones.
yeah.
It's when the ones that I am not a fan of are the ones where they go, "Oh, you should do this because
Oh,
that'll
yeah,
fix it." Those
yeah,
are the ones that I'm not a fan of,
yeah, yeah. Have
because
you not
someone
been
always has
reading
the
anything I write?
answer.
I'm not about the fix.
Somebody always has the one answer that will fix it all.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, with
yeah.
only
I
a sliver of the information.
yeah,
Those are the ones
yeah,
I don't like.
yeah. Yeah, that is yeah, yeah. And I guess, you're right. Yeah, the getting the sorry. I just don't I'm not saying it because I want someone to feel bad. I'm saying it because
Mhm,
I feel like we're going through all of us are going through something. Yours is just as valid as mine. And, we're all in this together,
mhm,
so what are we doing? And I think I want to kind of track back to, the expression, the shutting ourselves down, I don't wanna say hiding because I hate that, it's I went through a transformational program where it was kinda like, you're a hider, we see you hiding, da, 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 and we're gonna call you out, and you're hiding, and da, 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 da." And I kind
mhm,
of adopted it as a pattern, and I'm like, "Well, it's not across the board, it's not that linear." It's like, I'm not hiding, sometimes it's choice to quiet down and to go
mhm.
in
To
and
go inward instead of outward.
yeah, and to be a
Mhm,
hermit and, when I'm ready, I will connect out, and
mhm,
I feel like that is part of something that we each get to learn on our own. We all have our own rhythm around that, especially if you're a creator. Our creative cycles they're not even as like our menstrual cycle, how it's tuned into the moon. I mean, you can kinda do that, but even within that, what I notice about myself is that I can set an intention to like, okay, I'm gonna, plant on the new moon and I'm gonna release on the full moon. Sometimes that release doesn't happen till the very day of the full moon or like within that window, that couple of day
mhm,
window, and so if I was really being, like, linear with myself and like, "Oh, no, I didn't release and there must be something wrong and da 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 da," just kinda learn my system enough to know it is in tune, but it's in tune with a higher part of myself, and you know,
mhm,
it's not that I did something wrong or I didn't do enough of something. It just births when it births,
mhm,
and it's learning how to be like setting deadlines in a linear world, but then also giving yourself the leeway. Last week I wrote something that I put out and I wanted to put it out on the half moon and I had all this other stuff going on. And what was really interesting is Wednesday was you know, the balance. I love that first quarter, second quarter. It's
mhm,
that equal light, equal darkness place. And I love doing ceremony on that. And it was really funny. That happened to be Wednesday. I sat down to write and it came out like that. It was like it was just waiting for me somewhere.
mhm,
And I was like, "Yeah, that's cool." So it's like there's a synchronicity within me somewhere that I'm just fine tuning toward it.
mhm,
And I think that's where the aloneness can be really important because I mean, even if you have a coach and even if you have a guide, you still have to listen to yourself. And I think I know for myself, I fell into that, like not listening to me and listening to someone else, but you got to do it till you're done doing it, you
mhm. Yeah, yeah. It's so true, but this is exactly what we've been taught, right? That other people have more knowledge than we do. Other people know more than we do. Other people, um, have more experience or know better.
Mhm.
Not to trust ourselves, especially as women, we are taught all the time not to trust ourselves.
Right.
And we absolutely have to trust ourselves. That's where the problem has come in, is in the not trusting ourselves.
Mhm.
And it gets us into so many problems. You know how many women would not be killed or hurt if they trusted themselves before somebody else?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we see it all the time.
Yeah.
And whether it's, physical harm or just even moving in a direction that's not the best for you,
Mhm.
right? We really need to listen to our own selves, and as we learn to do that, it's uncomfortable for other people. It's also uncomfortable for us, but it's uncomfortable for other people,
Oh, yeah.
and so
Yeah.
we get a lot of pushback on it, so it
Total.
makes it difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
my husband and I are in that right now with our family, not my family, his family, and,
Mm.
he's started a company and, it's been a haul. It's going through its transitional phase. So yeah, finances right now aren't like, up there, but it doesn't mean that we're failing. We are where we are, and the company
And you're
is
doing it differently
we're
than
doing it
someone else.
differently. Yeah, the company is expanding. It is reaching global proportions, but we're still in the building phase, So there is like not reaping the rewards. And we've only been doing it 3 years.
Mhm.
So it's like, it's not like a service-based industry where you can hang a shingle out and you just start working
Start
towards
making money, yeah.
making money. And yeah, you may have a little bit of overhead you got to do, but this is manufacturing. This is a whole another animal. Neither one of us knew what we were getting into when we were doing
And
it,
it
but
costs a lot of upfront money to do that type of business.
yeah,
Yeah.
and, we both are committed to the vision that we hold, which is, helping the blind community get off the couch and giving them the tools to get moving, and there's such an empowerment thing, and people are loving it,
Mhm.
and to hear, like, his mother say, "Well, yeah, that's great, but it doesn't pay the bills," it totally diminishes
Mhm.
good things that he's creating because he took the risk, that we both took the risk really, and jumped into it. And, we're not in it to like make $1 million, but there's that mindset. Well, if you're doing this, then, you need to be doing it for this reason. And if it's
Mhm.
not making $1 million, then you must be doing something wrong. And it really does like, it cuts out a lot of the nuances of creating a business from scratch like that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why so many or so few people, I guess, take the risk to do that.
Mhm.
Because again, we're taught to, get a job and stick with that. I mean, that is shifting for sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
when, you know, like my dad had the same job till he retired, right? Started
me
when
too.
before I was born and had the same job till he retired.
Mhm.
And many people of that era did. And then, of course, in mine, a lot more change. I think 7 was the average number of jobs. Now
Mhm.
there's even more people that, work for themselves, which is a whole other thing
Yeah.
altogether, right? But there's still so few people in the grand scheme of things that take the risk to try something. When I left my job with the city, which was literally killing me,
Mhm.
um, my mother-in-law nearly lost it because it had a pension, it had benefits, it had all the things, and I went to work for a nonprofit,
Oh.
and, like, that was the worst thing I could have done,
Mhm.
right? And it was like, "Okay, but I'm gonna die if I stay there." Like, I will. It's like, I'm
Yeah.
not just, you know, I will die if I stay there. I'd already been hospitalized numerous times, and it was just, like, killing me.
Yeah.
But that was the safety of working for the government, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
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 and it's not an easy choice, either way. It's a risk, but that's the whole joy of life or the excitement of life is making these choices. And it's so funny because I like my husband and I talk about this all the time, and because it's really up for the two of us right now. And it's really interesting to me because we're here at this time and it's like really crazy, right? We chose this as souls, if you believe that or whatever. But then
mhm,
as souls too, it's like, did I come here just to mamby-pamby around, or you know, if I'm gonna do it, let's do it, man, like it's not always gonna be pretty, and that's okay. And it may, you may have days like today where you feel like everything's in the shitter. But
Mhm.
as I said, it shifts because it's just perception.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Mary, yes, welcome. Um, you're welcome too for, I'm glad you're part of our community.
Yeah,
The
I remember Mary Lee. Yeah.
the idea that, yes, life is supposed to be easy is, like, I don't know who came up with that, right? Like, is it just because as humans for safety, we want things to be as easy as possible?
Yeah,
But there's no growth in that. I
right.
I yeah, I wouldn't wish my life on anyone, but also the amount of growth that I've had over the years has been exponential compared to some people that I know, because I have been through a lot of things, so I have changed and shifted and grown and learned, and yeah, would I have chosen to do it that way?
Mhm.
Well, maybe I did choose to do it that way. In this lifetime, I would not have
Well, we're
chosen to do it
choosing
that
from
way.
a lot of different places. Consciously choosing from my wisdom or, like, choosing from yeah, a survival
Yeah.
thing. I mean, that's one of the things too that Dave and I have been looking at as we're moving through what we're moving through is, like, some of the decisions we made early on when we were starting our company were made not just from ignorance, but also from fear.
Mhm.
And now because it's fear and not knowing, like that nervous, like, "Oh, this is a lot of money to be laying down on the line." So you just do it, like rip it off like a Band-Aid without really thinking about it. But if we were making our choices not so much in fear and more from looking at all the possibilities, might we have made a different choice? That's possible.
Mhm.
Not saying that I'm not beating myself up and saying we should have done it this way. It's just interesting to see it, and that
Mhm.
moving forward, now that we've gained experience doing this, we're not as fearful. We're actually a lot stronger in what we're doing, and we're making, I don't wanna say better choices, but we're making choices more based on alignment than
Mhm.
running on, like, fear of something, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting too where those choices are coming from.
But also, yes,
And
and,
yes,
um,
I love it.
the the idea of, failing forward or, like, what mistakes, what, um I'll call them mistakes for lack of a better word
Yeah,
right at the moment, but have you made today like, maybe you in this moment, I wouldn't have done that this morning.
yeah,
However, I learned this, this, and this from it.
mhm,
And that's the more important part, right? Like, really good leaders know that they have to give their teams room to fail,
yeah,
that to try things and have them not work out,
yeah,
because that's how you learn what's gonna work,
yeah,
right? We remember Thomas Edison and the light bulb, but he had 10,000 non-light bulbs before he had a light bulb.
yeah,
And because he kept trying, and it's like, "Okay, that one didn't work, nope." Whereas the majority of us, well, that didn't work. Off to
yeah,
something else.
off to something else, yeah, and then, yeah, I was reading
Guess
about
I'm not meant to make light bulbs.
Milton Hershey, I think, like, went into bankruptcy, like, 6 different times, wins and loses,
Mhm,
till he got it, you know? There's I don't remember what book it was, but there is a book out there that talks about, like, the people that you see that are bigger, not necessarily now, but over the arc of history, and,
mhm,
it was not a linear process at all. It was a zigzaggy process, and we see the end result. We're not with people on the journey,
mhm.
that it takes staying with it. It
Any
takes
overnight success had 10 years before.
Yeah.
Yes, and so, yes, you don't learn if you aren't failing, and nothing is really a fail.
Yeah.
What is that word that we wanna say, like, "This didn't work, but I learned this from it." So
Mm.
it's not a failure, but it's
A
I
learning
mean,
experience?
yeah, what was the learning experience? Yeah, because it's such an important part of growing and
Yeah,
learning, and, you know, the the technology we have didn't just show up one day because, "Oh, bright idea," and then it worked.
Yeah.
No, they probably had 100 times that it didn't work or
Yeah,
more.
and then, like, bringing it kinda closer to home too is, it just kinda as you were talking, this image just kinda popped in my body, like, where we are right now in consciousness with all there's a lot of shifting going on, and
Mhm,
our bodies are wired to something else, and so our systems are shifting, and it's almost like a discombobulation where it's like learning how to ride a bike again. It's like there's, "Oh, I know how to do this and I know how to do that." But it's like, "No, this is a little bit different." Like the balance is a little bit different. And so you gotta just keep hopping back up on that bike and finding that new level of balance. And the the thing about that analogy is that, and this just kind of popped in, and once you get used to that, it's gonna shift again, and then you have to learn again. So that's that
mm,
flexibility, that ability just to allow yourself to be flexible. And I think that's also too why we need to keep moving our bodies. It's really important, flexible mind, flexible body, flexible everything, because we are in those times that, these times right now require us. I mean, things are happening so fast, it can make your head spin if you think it's going to go this way. And then all of a sudden it's like that, it's shocking.
mhm.
It's shocking to the system.
Yeah, yeah. Happy little accident. Now it's a bird, or now it's a tree. Yeah, it's um,
What do you want to be? I just don't know.
yes, just all the and really being open to that. I think that's where we often get stuck, right? Is the expectation is that this thing is gonna work or I'm gonna get it right,
Mhm.
and then when that doesn't happen, not only are you beating up on yourself, but then somebody else usually is also doing the same,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right? And so because that's what we've been taught in our society.
yeah.
So if we can start by giving ourselves grace, then maybe we can give other people more grace. Or maybe
Mhm.
we start with others and then we can give ourselves more grace. I'm not sure, but we just need to be doing it.
Yeah, yeah, and I
Whichever comes
I
first.
think right here, you start at the in your own home. It happens here first, right? Because we have those voices within us, right? Voices from the past and all of these things like that are running under the radar. And it's really interesting, like just as a for instance, like something came up for me over the week, and it wasn't like, oh, this big aha. It was just like I noticed something, and like when I kind of like went on a little journey, I was like, huh, that event was what was driving this. And it was like something that for me felt like it was all done. And
Mhm,
it was like when I was first starting out, just kind of, I don't even remember if I was fresh out of art school or still kind of in art school. I was there was a restaurant owner in this little like kind of mini mall place. So there was like a common area, and she loved my work. So she displayed my work. And apparently this woman in town, I got under her skin. I was a little young little upstart. Who did I think I was, doing this? So she had called one day and she was like sweet as pie. And she's like, "Oh, I see your work and da 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 da. Well, I'm going to be having an art show in that same space. So you're going to need to take your artwork down. But I'd like you to be part of the show." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." And so I went down, I brought 3 pieces down because we were only allowed to have 3 pieces. She freaking laid me out. Who do you think you are? Like the level of work I was doing, the way things were framed, like she was so threatened because here I am,
mhm,
this little art school person, and she
mhm,
hadn't gone to art school probably, or whatever. I was on completely on her turf. But I was
mhm.
young. I was like, mid to late 20s. So I hadn't grown my set yet, you know?
Yeah.
So I just like and plus I was floored. I felt like I was totally rug pulled out from underneath me because she was so nice on the phone. And when
Mhm,
I showed up in person with my work, she just laid me out in front of everybody too. Like there was other people there and I just
mhm,
went, you know?
mhm.
And she ended up hanging my 3 pieces, like, behind plants and in dark corners and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, it is like, I laugh about it now because I'm like, wow, that person that I was back then, like, is
Mhm,
just such, like, she's just a shadow. Yet she was holding some hatred towards this woman, that part of me, like, I still was like, "Oh, man," I'm like, "Oh, if I were going back there now, man, I'd beat the crap out of her," right?
Mhm.
But it was just interesting that, like, really this is what this is the little niggly thing that I need to take a look at, and so you can't dismiss anything, I guess, is my point I'm, like,
Yeah.
making as I'm sharing this story, is that, like, even though you think you've settled it and it's not a thing, there could still be something running in the background, and if it comes up into your awareness, like, "Why am I thinking about this?" Investigate it a little bit, it's coming up for a reason.
It is almost always those little things that trip us up, right? How many women I have talked to, "I'm not creative," because of something a teacher said in
Yeah,
school when they were, like, 7 years old, you
yeah.
know?
Well, obviously, it didn't stop me. It did slow me down a
Mhm,
little bit, but, like, I had a pretty good support system that I, like, circled the wagons and was like, "Whoa, she was so mean to me." And, a couple of people that, like, knew her just was like, "Oh, don't even give it because this is who she is and this is why it happened and da 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 da
mhm.
da." So I had a good support network at the time that did that. But
But
yeah,
there
it
was
it
still that
was
little niggle in
oh,
there.
it was horrible. It was horrible because like
Yeah,
even when I like
it
tell the
was.
story, I can laugh about it, but I'm like when I went through it, I really felt gutted,
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
leveled, gutted, trampled on. And I just think like when we treat another human being that way, there it is gonna come back at you. It's gonna come
mhm.
back on you because that's what you're putting out into the world. I mean, you can be wonderful towards people and treat people with love and respect, or you can just be miserable to people, you know?
The problem is the cycle that people they don't see their part in it, right?
Yeah,
They don't see their part in the energy flow that's happening, and
yeah,
so they treat somebody horribly, and then they feel horrible, so then they treat somebody horrible, and so then the cycle continues, and we need to start taking personal responsibility. Another thing we're not taught in this world. So
yeah, yeah. What's interesting though is like I had listened to Carolyn Mason knows this woman that, I can't remember her name, but she went through a near-death experience, and when she was on the other side, she tells this story about how one day she had this interaction with her sister, and her sister was like, "Hey, don't I look tell me how I look," and she's, like, dressed up for something, and this woman that went through the NDE, she just was not in the mood for it. So she turned around and she did the same thing. She just leveled her. She's like, "Don't bother me. Like you look horrible, blah, 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 blah." Well, when she was on the other side in that near death experience, she was back in that scene and she had to feel her the result of her own
oh,
like
just get
lashing out.
goosebumps from yeah, I just get goosebumps from that, yeah.
Yeah, and so she had to feel both sides of it. She felt herself, and then she felt what it felt like for her sister, and then what it did when she came back from the other side, she was that was what struck her the most was how awful she felt that she could do that to her sister. Like, how could I have done that? Like, she was so remorseful for that, and
Mhm,
so it gave her an opportunity to make things right. But, that's what I wonder when people do stuff like that. Yes, it's really painful, and I've had my fair share of that kind of treatment for whatever the reason is, because I'm like,
mhm.
"I'm not that bad, like, why are people beating up on me?" But whatever. But they too will at some point, either in this life or on the other side, will have to go through what they dished out,
Mm.
they're gonna have to experience that. So, yeah, I think the best thing I can do is just, move on, let it go, forgive myself, and,
And
you know
process it in a healthier for me way.
yeah,
Mhm.
disentangle from the dysfunction,
Yeah.
because what is the result? It kind of fed into my judge. I judge myself more harshly,
Mhm.
and it's one of the things that blocks me in getting things out because not because I hear that voice, it's because my system learned to judge first. It's protecting me, right?
Mhm.
You're gonna put that out there. What do you think, yeah, da, 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 whatever the voice is gonna be about that, right?
Yeah.
It's for the most part been able to override it. but depends on what it is. If it's something that is like really hitting a seed of truth for myself that I feel a little shaky on, it's I need to sit with myself. I need to sit and be tender with myself and allow this stuff to move and then put it out. So I'm not
Mhm.
doing like that transformational thing, feel the fear and do it anyway. No, it's like honor the fear.
Mhm.
Don't ignore the fear. Don't push past the fear. Don't let the fear overtake you. Sit with your fear. It's there's a reason why it's coming up, and it's not always, trying to harm you and or stop you from doing stuff in the world. It's probably something coming up that you've experienced in the past that needs need a little love and attention, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, that one never sat well for me, the feel yes, we need fear can't stop us
Mhm.
unless it needs to. There is that, there are times when it should stop us. We should not step in front of that bus, but also, let's
Yeah,
explore where it comes from, right? Let's
yeah,
explore why it came up. Why did this come up? Why is this, um, you know, why am I afraid of this? Like, is there a physical fear? Is there, am I worried about being ostracized? Am I like, or is it something I've been told, in the past? All of those things.
yeah.
I was just looking at the time though, and any final thoughts as we wrap up? Because we
Yeah,
were just on a go today.
I
Yeah,
know, like,
yeah,
wow, it's like, wow, an hour already. That's
yeah.
crazy. No, not so much final thoughts. I think, we are probably gonna get to the point where we're beating the horse a little dead on this, but I really feel like, it's if we can learn to be gentle here within
Mhm.
ourselves, cut ourselves some slack. We don't need to be doing battle within. We don't need to be pushing ourselves past things. I mean, there's the dance. It's the
Mhm.
it is a balance and harmony within you, like knowing yourself enough to know, like, am I, taking the easy way out or, you know,
Bye, Zoe. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, how about you? Final.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm working on for sure.
Mhm.
When you've been, you know, beaten up by so many in your life, when there's nobody there to do it, you just take it on, right? Like, "Guess that's my job now."
What am I doing? What am I continuing to do?
So, I'm definitely working on that.
Yeah,
As weird things happen with me and it's like, "No, just push through it. You can do it." And it's like, or maybe I shouldn't be doing that.
yeah,
So it's one I'm working on for sure.
yeah,
And yeah, I love our conversations and I appreciate that we can share them with people. And, for anyone listening now or listening at another time, um, we love your comments. We love to hear from you. We love you to be a part of the conversation. So, yeah, like let
yeah,
us know your thoughts. Let us know, you know, are you being kind to yourself? Are you being
yeah.
kind to yourself?
And I just wanna thank those who were popping in, like Zoe, for being the the constant in
Yeah.
here. I love it because there's engagement and,
Yeah.
yes, we're talking to each other, but to know that it's landing or not land or what's coming up for you, that's wonderful. And then Mary Lee Miglino too, like, for
Yeah.
chiming in and saying hi. And it's good to see both of you here. And
Yeah.
even if you were silent and just playing along, we thank you for joining us too. So,
We do. I'm gonna now try and push some buttons that will end this streaming, although that didn't work last time, and it streamed for hours after we were gone, so let's, cross our fingers that it works. Thank you, everyone.